Hi everyone. Today I am at the Linda Hall Library in Kansas City, Missouri. Today we're going to take a special look at an exhibit called Life Beyond Earth. This is outside the range of what I usually talk about on this channel, as the medieval cosmos didn't really have much concept for life beyond Earth. There really wasn't any thought about the planets being spheres of their own. That didn't arise until planets were first seen through telescopes, and it was realized that they were entire spheres similar to the Earth. Tycho Brahe did have a little bit of a concept of this, in that he attempted to measure the angular diameter of the planets and attempted success, but looking at his records, we know that he was completely wrong on this. So again, this content is going to be outside what I normally talk about on this channel, but this is such an interesting exhibit that I couldn't pass up coming by and seeing it while I was in town this weekend. The Linda Hall Library is a little bit tricky to get into. It tends to only be open during business hours, Monday through Friday, but on the second Saturday of each month, they do have an additional open house, usually from 10 o'clock to 2 o'clock, that allows you to come see these exhibits that you might not otherwise get to. So I'm going to go ahead and show you the exhibit now, and I hope you all find this interesting, and if you have a chance, stop by.
The exhibit is immediately to the right as you walk in, next to the circulation desk. When you first walk in, you're presented with the question, where is everybody? The famous Drake equation is presented along with a copy of the book in which Frank Drake first proposed it. I wish there was a bit more discussion on how the results of the equation vary wildly depending on what values you choose to use for the parameters. If you're generous, you may estimate that the Milky Way contains millions of civilizations, whereas if you're conservative, it suggests that life on Earth is a miracle. Regardless, the exhibit seems to have the implicit assumption that life is common. It then presents several of the arguments that have been put forth on why, if that's the case, we haven't heard from them. It then gives some discussion on the methods that we've attempted to use to receive potential communications from life outside Earth via the Search for Extraterrestrial Intelligence, SETI, as well as an overview of the methods used to detect extrasolar planets. The exhibit then backs up to take a brief look at the fanciful speculation on life beyond Earth throughout history. This includes Christian Huygens' Celestial Worlds Discovered from 1698, as well as Entretien sur la pluralité des mondes by Bernard Le Bovier Fontenelle from 1686. The exhibit also has a copy of Theoria Motum Planetarum et Cometarum by Leonhard Euler from 1744, which is more a work on the orbit of planets and comets than speculation on potential life, so I suspect it was included for this fun illustration on the frontispiece. As modern astronomy progressed, we start seeing opinions that are a bit more grounded in observational science, although those could clearly go wrong as well, which the exhibit clearly demonstrates, referring to Percival Lowell's well-known misinterpretation of Giovanni Schiaparelli's Canali on Mars. Another humorous example is shown from a 1930 edition of Popular Science Monthly, in which the author, Thomas Elway, speculated that Mars may have had an evolution similar to Earth, leading to a race of beavers ruling the red planet. As we begin to get towards the middle of the 20th century, the examples become closer to home, with references to UFOs and aliens visiting Earth. The exhibit makes it clear that these claims were taken seriously by the US federal government, which launched Project Blue Book to investigate sightings. However, the final conclusion was that UFOs are not extraterrestrial in origin, not a national security threat, and not able to provide new scientific knowledge. The exhibit then discusses how popularization of aliens and a distrust of the government contribute to speculation about UFOs and aliens continuing to be widespread. Perhaps ironically, this past week, a large number of suspicious drone sightings in New Jersey have sparked a flurry of alien UFO speculation. From there, the exhibit heads downstairs and has a large wall panel discussing missions to Mars before moving into the Interplanetary Research Lab, which is a highly speculative look at what sorts of life we might find on other planets. While this room is rooted in scientific thought, it's hard not to view it in the context of the previous speculative science we just looked at, especially when we can see that some of the ideas being tossed out are space ants and moss frogs. That's the end of the exhibit. I hope you enjoyed this look, and we'll get back to astronomy before the telescope here real shortly.